for Dr. J.
Go. And that's it.
Clap on.
Okay. Clap on. Clap off.
The clapper.
The clapper.
I can't believe that ever caught on.
Yeah, I think, well, of course it did. I mean, come on, man. It's the clapper.
Worst place to do it? At a nightclub.
Everybody clap your hands. On, off, on, off.
You can set up the strobes for that. Yeah, you don't want the computer to die.
No, we don't.
So we're rolling.
So we're doing Hamlet.
Again.
For those of you who are playing at home, this thing is all kinds of crooked. There we go. Now the world is right. So we were on a tilt. They probably think they were watching a boat. So we did Hamlet, and the computer that I recorded it on ate it.
The sound was,
it got corrupted, and the sound was in and out and off. So there was like whole portions of it where there was just nothing. It's just two of us going.
I think you should have posted it anyway, and it's the one about the avant-garde.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's do some house cleaning. If you like what you see, click the like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. We are on Substack, thebetafiles.substack.com. Hopefully you're seeing it there. Go on there, subscribe, get some really cool content. Done.
Including written content, by the way.
Yes, well, yeah, mostly written content. You'll see our jackass faces. You can also get some really funny stuff. Specifically, St. Mary's Sex Drive.
You betcha.
That's the big one right now. But I posted the Ross Geller one this morning.
Good.
Yes, I am Ross Geller.
It's not what you wanted.
No, I wanted to be Chandler. We'll do a podcast on it.
Well, Ross Geller's an academic, right?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So, but that is not what we're here to do today.
No,
Today we're here to discuss our favorite Dane.
Again.
The only Dane
That
we care about.
There can be only one.
There's only one Dane. And his name was Hamlet. Hamlet of the cul-de-sac down the street.
No. What I said the last time on our Corrupt podcast.
Came from an affluent neighborhood outside of Atlanta.
What I had said last time, and it bears repeating because I'm trying to reproduce this whole thing now.
Yeah, just don't try, just go.
Is that I have no ability whatsoever to talk about Hamlet the way a scholar would.
Yeah, neither do I.
I'm a fanboy.
Yes. This is the ultimate fanboy podcast over Hamlet.
But one of the things that'll be borne out, because I'd said that last time, the point I'd made before we even started was, I know it's the greatest work of literature ever written. I just really have a hard time talking about why.
Yeah.
So the only way I can figure to talk about it is to go back to Harold Bloom.
Yeah.
Because what Harold Bloom points out in Hamlet is at the very center of Shakespeare's canon for him, as it is for us, is that until Shakespeare, human beings did not exist in literature, not fully fledged human beings.
Right.
And that includes Homer, that includes Gilgamesh, that includes Chaucer and Beowulf. It's not that they're not realized characters, it's just nothing existed like Shakespeare until Shakespeare.
Yeah. I agree.
But that's the only way I can frame it. And there's more to it than that. The way he uses language is, and this was your complaint about grad school, and my complaint about grad school is that we're not talking about aesthetics anymore. How can you teach Shakespeare and not talk about aesthetics?
Exactly. Well, how can you teach Faulkner?
You can't.
How can you write about Faulkner and not talk about aesthetics? So, by the way, next week is the one that... So I've been trying to placate you a little bit.
I appreciate that.
That's why we did the narrative poetry one.
Yes. Well, you just wanted me to talk more.
I did. Well, I was getting criticism. Positive criticism. So, yeah, we did the narrative poetry. You got into the novel. You were good with that. Now we're doing... Then we've done the one about Bill, where we talked about all his stuff.
Yes.
And then promised that we would come back to Ham.
Yes.
Good old Hammy.
Hammy.
But next week...
This is yours.
It is all me.
And it's one of my favorite novels.
Next week we're doing Gatsby.
Yeah.
So...
It might be the great American novel.
Might be? Oh, it is.
I mean, it's
the novel.
It's just...
I'll make that argument next week.
It's stunning.
Yeah. We'll make that argument next week. So next week it's Gatsby.
It's the Hamlet of fiction.
Well, you know what I told my classes this morning? It's the Hamlet of the last 100 years.
I would agree with that.
That's for sure. And we'll talk about that more next week. So buckle in, babies. Hang on to your diapers, babies. That's what I used to say. Hang on to your diapers, babies. We're doing Gatsby.
You gotta get that voice actor to do that one too.
Yeah. Hang on to your diapers, babies. I can't do Tommy. He's got that scratchy voice. I can't do it. I can't do SpongeBob either. I can do Patrick all day long. SpongeBob. But I was telling somebody yesterday, I was like, you gotta watch SpongeBob. And they have grown daughters. And one of the daughters has a child. And they were like, I don't want to watch SpongeBob because they watch it all the time. I was like, you don't understand, you have to watch it. It's like Monty Python. So we have a running bet now. They're going to watch it, but if it's not like Monty Python, I haven't been told what I'm losing.
Well, you're not going to lose.
Or maybe I was. I know.
I never watched it much.
It's so good.
And my kids never watched it much.
It's so good. It's so good. The first season, phenomenal. After that, when Hillenburg quit, which I think was midway through the third season,
it changed.
That's when it went downhill.
It's the Sorkin effect.
Yeah, the Sorkin effect, exactly. But the first season is just absolutely phenomenal. Oh, the pilot episode is unbelievable. I smell something. The smelly kind of smell. The smelly smell that smells smelly. Anchovies!
So you have excerpts.
From one great literary character to another, from SpongeBob to Hamlet.
A seamless transition.
Seamless transition. So there you go. I'll keep you updated on the bet once they watch some. They're supposed to let me know.
They'll like it, despite themselves.
Yeah, I think they will too.
Did SpongeBob write Shakespeare? I think he did.
There's an episode. Oh my god. Okay. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to come back to that. So, where is it?
The music playing over the radio is freaking me out.
Why?
Just because I'm trying to get in my Hamlet mode.
Woman.
And this is what I'm hearing.
Oh. This is Hamlet. Whither wilt thou lead me? Speak, I'll go no further. Ghost, mark me. Hamlet, I will. Ghost, my hour is almost come when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself. Alas, poor ghost, pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold. Speak, I am bound to hear. So art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear. What? I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night and for the day confined to fast in fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. But that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house, I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze the young blood, make thy two eyes like stars start from their spears, thy knotted and combined locks to part, and each particular hair to stand on end like quills upon the fretful porcupine. But this eternal blazon must not be to ears of flesh and blood. List, list, oh list, if thou didst ever thy dear father love, O God, is Hamlet's response. Revenge his foul and most unnatural murder. Murder? Here it comes. Murder most foul, as in the best it is, but this most foul strange and unnatural. Now you said the theory.
Well, it was one I first heard at UNC when I was in my Shakespeare class, and then they develop it in the Brana version, which is the best version of Hamlet ever made. Period. And that includes Olivier, which is a great version too.
I'm branding.
Should have known. That's horrible.
It's all about the brand, man. Anyway.
There's an argument to be made for the fact that this is not his father. That the ghost is actually a demon. And if you watch Hamlet, the movie with Brana, he pulls a book off the bookshelf and opens it, and on the frontispiece is the word demonology.
Right.
They're playing on that idea because what would a demon have to gain from this? To completely destroy an entire kingdom.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, I mean, obviously Claudius kills Hamlet's father.
Right.
We know that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this is actually Hamlet's father speaking. That it may be a ghost tempting Hamlet. It may be a demon tempting Hamlet to kill his uncle.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much evidence there is, but when scholar after scholar after scholar says this is an idea worth thinking about, I'm paying attention.
Yeah. Well, and again, Brana's playing with it.
Yeah. It adds a dimension to the play, knowing why is he so tempted and who's tempting him, and would a father actually do this?
Yeah.
And the answer is probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. It's a great speech.
It is, and it's the setup
And
for the
it's
rest of the play.
and it's his only appearance in the play.
What's interesting is that we're in scene 5 of Act 1. We've got 4 other scenes where there's a lot of different setup, but you don't really know
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna get to those.
until we get to this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to get to the biggest setup that happens, and it happens like that.
Yeah. And you don't see
If you're
it.
not paying attention,
You miss it.
you miss it. I always tell them, watch him. Keep an eye on that little fella. We're saving him till last, like we always do,
Well, you have to.
because it's the second run through.
We're rehearsing.
We were rehearsing.
Now we've mastered the material. You know exactly what you're quoting.
Yes. Yeah, because we kind of did it off the cuff last time.
Yeah. You've got more now.
Got quite a bit more. Okay. So yeah, that's the setup. I don't know about the demon thing.
Yeah.
I like to think it's his dad. So you remember Quinn's original office downstairs?
Yeah.
First floor, Davis Hall. There used to be a closet right beside of it. We used to joke that's Hamlet's dad's closet or office. You know, the ghost of Hamlet in that closet.
A lot of bad stuff happened in that office.
I know.
The spider eggs.
Yeah. Then when it got flooded.
Yep. The silverfish, or was
The
that our
silverfish.
other friend's office?
No, that was hers. Her and Brock.
Yeah. And Coop.
Yeah. But yeah, we used to call that little closet Hamlet's ghost's office. That's where the fucking ghost lived, because everything was bad down there, and he was fucking with them.
Only English majors.
I know, everybody else is watching this thinking, what a bunch of fucking dorks. Yeah.
We're a little sad.
I don't buy the demon thing.
Yeah.
I can see where...
Well, see, I haven't read the articles, right? So I don't
Right.
know.
Because he comes right out and says, well,
See?
I am thy father's spirit,
Yeah.
doomed for a certain term to walk the night.
Yeah,
For
because
the days
demons
of
never
find it."
lie. I mean, they're known for their absolute honesty.
Well, he doesn't recognize him.
No, he doesn't. That's the other point they probably make, because he has no idea who he's talking to. And the ghost is not described in any detail in terms of.
Well, okay.
There's a description that Horatio gives. No,
Yeah.
not Horatio. Who's talking to Horatio? The two guards try to give a description of him. They kind of recognize him.
Look, with what courteous action it waves you to a more removed ground, but do not go with it. No, by no means. It will not speak, then I will follow it. Do not, my lord. Why? What should be the fear? I do not set my life at a pen's fee, and for my soul, what can it do to that, being a thing immortal as itself? It waves me forth again, I'll follow it. Let's go back. Yeah, there's not really...
I've got to find the articles that talk about this. I'm looking this up while you talk, while you look what you know.
Well, he goes on, he says, they keep telling him, don't go.
Right.
And Hamlet says, I'm going. And the ghost leaves, and then Hamlet leaves. And then Horatio to the other dude, he waxes desperate with imagination. Let's follow. 'Tis not fit thus to obey him.
Right.
Have after, to what issue will this come? Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. Heaven will direct it. Nay, let's follow him. Something. Oh, I forgot about that line. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. That's a great line.
It is.
And then, of course, the ghost talks to him. But yeah, okay.
Like I say, I got to find the articles. My first thought when I heard that argument was, is there enough evidence to make that claim? But apparently it's not an uncommon claim among Shakespeare scholars. And obviously Brana buys it.
Yeah.
Or at least he points to it. He indicates it when Hamlet pulls that book off the shelf.
Okay, so when the ghost says goodbye, he says, but howsoever thou purest... God, forgot my glasses. But howsoever thou purest this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive. Against thy mother aught, leave her to heaven, and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge, to prick and sting her. Fare thee well at once, the glowworm shows the matin to be near, and agains to pale his ineffectual fire. Adieu, 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 remember me. O all you hosts of heaven, O earth, what else? And shall I couple hell, O fie, hold my heart. This is Hamlet being,
Emo.
I thought, this is one of Hamlet's many emo moments.
Yeah, there are a lot.
I, thou poor ghost, while memory holds a seat in this distracted globe, remember thee? Yea, from the table of my memory, I'll wipe away all trivial fond records.
I don't know where they're getting it. There's a whole bunch of scholars who think that he's probably not his father. I'm trying to find it while you're reading.
Well, okay. I don't know what to say to it. This is where the setup is,
Yeah,
right?
I think you're right.
Yeah, ultimately the setup, whether it's his dad or a demon tricking him, this is the beginning of the end. And we've already gotten, which we'll see at the end of the podcast when we go back, we'll see where the other crucial chess piece is put in place right before this.
Yes.
Our favorite part of the entire play. Polonius.
Oh God. Yes.
Polonius says, and he's talking to Gertrude and Claudius. Lord Hamlet is a prince out of thy star. This must not be. And then prescripts gave her that she should lock herself in from his resort, admit no messengers, receive no tokens, which done, she took the fruits of my advice, and he repulsed a short tale to make, fell into a sadness, then into a fast, thence to a watch, thence to a weakness, thence to a lightness, and by this declination into the madness wherein now he raves, and all we mourn for. So Claudius and Gertrude know that something's up with Junior.
And Polonius is trying to tell him what's going on.
Polonius is telling them, well, it's because I took my daughter away from him, and now he's saddened.
Yep.
Because he loved her.
Which has nothing to do with it.
Has nothing to do with it. And we'll find that out because one of the darkest scenes in the entire play is him rejecting her.
But he did love her.
He did. He admits it at the end. We'll get to that. The king says, do you think 'tis this? The queen says, it may be, very like. And then Polonius says, hath thee been such a time? I'll fain know that I have positively said 'tis so, when it proved otherwise. King says, not that I know. And then Polonius says, pointing to his head and shoulder, take this from this if this be otherwise. In other words, you can take off my head if I'm wrong. That's how confident he is. That this is the reason why Hamlet's moping around. So Hamlet comes in. Claudius and Gertrude exit. Polonius is watching him. How does my good Lord Hamlet, says Polonius. Well, God have mercy. Do you know me, my lord? Excellent. Well, you are a fishmonger. Not I, my lord. Then I would you were an honest man. Honest, my lord? Aye, sir. To be honest, as this world goes, is to be one man picked out of 10,000. That's very true, my lord. First, if the sun breed maggots in a dead dog, being a good kissing carrion, have you a daughter? I have, my lord. Let her not walk in the sun. Conception is a blessing. But as your daughter may conceive, friend, look to it. Polonius aside, how say you by that, still harping on my daughter? Yet he knew me not at first. He said I was a fishmonger. He is far gone, and truly in my youth I suffered much extremity for love. Very near this, I'll speak to him again. What do you read, my lord? Words. 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 What is the matter, my lord? Between who? I mean, the matter that you read, my lord. Slander, sir. For the satirical road says here that old men have gray beards, that their faces are wrinkled, their eyes purging thick amber and plum tree gum, and that they have a plentiful lack of wit, together with most weak hams, all which, sir, though I most powerfully and potently believe, yet I hold it not honestly to have it thus set down. For you yourself, sir, shall grow old as I am, if like a crab, you could go backward. The greatest part about all this, Polonius doesn't realize he's talking shit to him the whole time.
He's making fun of him, and he's pretending to be mad.
Yeah, and he's not.
None of this is real.
Polonius aside again. Though this be madness, yet there is method in it. And then back to Hamlet. Will you walk out of the air, my lord? Into my grave? Indeed. That's out of the air. Again aside, how pregnant sometimes his replies are, a happiness that often madness hits on, which reason and sanity could not so purposely he be delivered of. I will leave him and suddenly contrive the means of meeting between him and my daughter. My honorable lord, I will take my leave of you. This is response.
Oh, you cannot take.
Oh my God. You cannot, sir, take from me anything that I will more willingly part with all.
He's so mean.
He is just evil. Accept my life, accept my life, accept my life. Fare you well, my lord. These tedious old fools.
The thing about Polonius is he's actually a good guy.
He is.
He's
He's trying to get what's good for his kids
yes.
and make sure that they have a good future. He wants her to marry off to Hamlet, and he wants his son
To grow up.
to grow up.
Which is why he sends him off whoring. To grow up.
To grow up.
To sow his wild oats, as it were.
And he bungles that.
He does.
His son's a fucking idiot. The apple didn't fall far from the tree on that one. What was the thing I said the other day on the other podcast about I flipped it. I can't remember. This was 2 podcasts ago. You remember?
I think I do.
What was it I said?
I don't remember that.
You brought it up the other day.
You flipped it?
I flipped it.
It'll come to me after the podcast
Probably.
is over.
Yeah. Go back and watch 2 podcasts ago. I completely screwed up a common saying. Because that's what I want to do. You cannot, sir, take from me anything that I will more willingly part with all.
He's just unnecessarily rude as a part of his problem.
Yeah.
And he's rude to everybody.
Yeah. All right. So we got to talk about, before we get into that, because we're getting ready to get into the whole Ophelia thing, we got to talk about his soliloquies. You brought up the fact that, oh God, I forgot the dude's name. Bloom argues that Hamlet becomes the first fully realized character in literature.
That's right.
In all.
He's human.
And it's the soliloquies that we get that from.
That's exactly right.
Right? All the different moments where he's sitting there and he's just talking his thoughts out. He's thinking out loud.
Or the times he's talking to Horatio.
Yeah.
He's bearing his soul.
Yeah, we'll get to that part too. He doesn't even realize they're digging her grave.
Oh. Which is also a funny moment.
Yeah. Not that he finds out that.
No, but everything leading up to it is hilarious.
Yeah, the freaking clown. Yeah, I can't think of anybody else but Billy Crystal.
Because he's wonderful.
Yeah. But this is the soliloquy to end all soliloquies. And it's the moment where he rationalizes life and death and tries to figure out exactly where he fits in this little paradigm, right? To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing in them to die, to sleep no more. And by his sleep to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shots that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consumption devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. And there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect. That makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's I hate this word, contumely? The
calumny?
Pangs, yeah, sure, we'll go with that. The pangs of deprised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin. Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have, then fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought. And enterprises of great pitch and moment with this regard, their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. Soft you now, the fair Ophelia, nymph, in thy horizons be all my sins remembered.
Oh. Oh.
Okay.
He's asking her to pray for him.
Yeah. And then destroys her. The opening line is the one I use when students say, I don't understand Shakespeare. I don't get it. I'm like, okay.
Here we go.
Here we go. To be or not to be. What does that mean? To exist or not to exist? Well, then you got it.
That's it.
You know Shakespeare.
That's it.
That is the question.
Because he's for the first time in the play entertaining suicide.
Yeah.
Would it be better if I were dead?
Mm-hmm.
Would I be better off if I were dead?
For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come. When we have shuffled off this mortal coil.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But he also talks about the fear of death.
Yeah.
The undiscovered country.
Who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's that word, the pangs of deprised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin, who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a wary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of.
Yeah.
So yeah, he goes from, why would I want to keep doing this, to,
Oh my God.
there's something out there I don't know.
Yeah, what if it's worse?
Yeah, that no traveler returns from.
Yeah.
It's a one-way ticket.
And I think it's the first time in the play when he starts entertaining this idea.
Mm-hmm.
At least if it's not the first time, I don't remember it.
Yeah. Well, he's starting to question mortality.
Well, he's seen his father, or he thinks it's his father.
Right. One or the other.
The sense that what comes next may not be that good.
Yeah.
Because his father's in purgatory.
Yeah. Where is he?
If it's his father.
If it's his father.
If it's his father.
Catholic tones, you forgot to mention that. We'll come back to it.
Yeah, we need to mention that.
All right. And then, of course, Ophelia comes in.
Anything else?
How does your honor for this many a day? I humbly thank you well. My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed to redeliver. I pray you now receive them.
He's trying to get back his stuff.
Yeah. No, not I. I never gave you aught. He left his shirt there, and she's like, you want your shirt back?
Yeah, your boxers are on my floor.
Yeah, I kind of need you to take your shit back, because if my dad sees them, all right.
Yep.
Got to put up this little, thing for my dad. I'm kind of innocent.
Yep. She's a virgin.
I want to marry in white. And he tells her, you can marry in white. Forget me.
Yep.
My honored lord, you know right well you did. And with them words of so sweet breath composed as made the things more rich. Their perfume lost, take these again, for to the noble mind rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind. So she says, yeah, you know you did. And when you did, you spoke so pretty to me.
Mm-hmm.
You made me feel so special. But now, you're not so special, pal. Take your shit back. I don't want your Smith CD anymore.
Alright, here you go.
And he says, haha, are you honest, my lord? Are you fair? What means your lordship? That if You be honest and fair. Your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty. Could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than with honesty? I truly, for the power of beauty, will sooner transform honesty from what it is to a bawd than the force of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometime a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once. Indeed, my lord, you may be believed so. You should not have believed me. For virtue cannot so inoculate your old stock, but we shall relish of it. I loved you not. He goes from, I did love you once, to I loved you not, in 2 lines.
He's horrible.
I was the more deceived.
That's what she says to
Is
him.
what she says to him, and his response is, get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent, honest, but yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. Now this is immediately after the to be or not to be. So he's still in that mental mindset.
Oh, yeah.
I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offenses at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do crawling between heaven and earth? We are errant knaves all. Believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery. Where's your father? At home, my lord. Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in his own house. Farewell. Oh, help him, you sweet heavens. Of course, she's talking. God, you say something, do something with this guy. Thou dost marry. I'll give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow. Thou shalt not escape calumny. Get thee to a nunnery. Farewell. Or if thou wilt needs marry a fool, for wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery go, and quickly too. Farewell. He tells her multiple times, go to a fucking nunnery.
Yep. He's horrible to her.
He is.
And for no good reason.
No. Well, his reason is he's looking at himself, and he admits this twice. It were better if my mother had not borne me. Don't have children either.
Yeah.
Because look at what they become.
You're condemning them to a horrible life.
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah.
Well, he even says in the beginning, after he's talked to the ghost, that he's going to put away all trivialities and happiness.
Yeah.
And that includes her.
Yeah. Of course, we know what happens.
It's one of the saddest moments in the play.
Yes.
She deserved better.
Yep. Yes, she did.
One of the great moments is when Kate Winslet is handing out these invisible flowers to everybody. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so sad. Because she's been weeping.
Yeah.
They have her in a straitjacket at one point, don't
Yeah.
they? Ugh.
Hamlet, Guildenstern have just talked. Guildenstern Polonius comes in. Polonius says, my lord, the queen would speak with you, and presently. Hamlet says, do you see yonder cloud that's almost in the shape of a camel? By the mass, and 'tis like a camel indeed. Methinks it is like a weasel. It is back like a weasel, or like a whale, very like a whale. Then I will come to my mother by and by. And then aside to the audience. They fool me to the top of my bent. And then back to Polonius. I will come by and by.
He likes toying with Polonius.
He does, but there's an interesting thing he's doing with this little exchange. He's seeing how much. He knows Polonius is there
Yep.
to lay a trap. He doesn't know what the trap is, and he wants to make sure that Polonius really is there to lay a trap. And of course, Polonius is agreeing to everything that Hamlet says. And Hamlet knows, yeah, this is a trap. That's why he says that thing to the aside. They fool me to the top of my bent. I can't deal with these people.
Yep. I've had enough.
I've had enough. All right. So then, Claudius. We'll come back to this. We'll come back to that.
What, the prayer?
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Because that'll get us into the Catholic thing.
Yeah. So enter Queen and Polonius. Polonius, he will come straight. Look you, lay home to him. Tell him his pranks have been too broad to bear with, and that your grace hath screened and stood between much heat and him. I'll silence me even here. Pray you be round with him. And Gertrude says, I'll warrant you. Fear me not. Withdraw. I hear him coming. Polonius hides behind it says the auras, but it's the curtains.
Yeah.
Right? In comes Hamlet. Hamlet. Now, mother, what's the matter? What do you want, woman? Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended. Mother, you have my father much offended.
Oh, this gets ugly too.
Oh, it gets so ugly. Come, come, you answer with an idle tongue. Go, go, you question with a wicked tongue. Why, how now, Hamlet? What's the matter now? Have you forgot me? No, by the rood, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife. And, would it were not so, you are my mother. Oh, that's such a line.
It's horrible.
If it were not so, you are my mother. Okay, so I forgot to preempt this like I did last time. Fucking assholes who try to argue there's an Oedipus thing going on here.
There's no Oedipus thing going
There's
on.
no Oedipus. He hates
His mother.
And he corners her big time.
Well, it's all about Claudius.
Yeah. She responds, Nay then, I'll set those to you that can speak. Come, come, and sit you down. You shall not budge. You go not till I set you up a glass, where you may see the inmost part of you. So he's saying, sit down and shut up.
Yep.
And you're not going anywhere until I'm done.
I'm going to show you who you really are.
Let me show you who you really are.
Yep.
What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me? Help, help, ho! Polonius from behind the curtains. What? Ho! Help, help, help!
Poor Polonius.
Hamlet, drawing his sword. How now, a rat? Dead for a ducat dead. Makes a pass through the auras. Polonius from behind. Oh, I am slain. Then falls and dies. Oh me, what hast thou done? No, I know not. Is it the king? Queen says, oh, what a rash and bloody deed this is. Hamlet says, a bloody deed, almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his brother. This is twice he's already alluded to this.
Yep.
He's getting bolder with each pass. As kill a king, aye, lady, 'twas my word. Lifts up the auras and discovers Polonius. Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool, farewell. I look thee for thy better. Take thy fortune. Thou findest to be too busy in some danger. Leave wringing of your hands. Peace, sit you still, sit you down, and let me wring your heart. For so I shall, if it be made of penetrable stuff. If damned custom have not brazed it so, that it be proof and bulwark against sins.
See, he thinks, and I don't think she does. He thinks she knows what's happened. I don't think she's in on it. I think
Then
she's...
we go back to the play.
Yeah.
He thinks the lady doesn't protest so much. But then again, you've argued that maybe that's just his point of view, like it's what he wants to see.
I think she's in denial about what's happened.
Yeah.
I think maybe she doesn't want to believe.
Yeah.
I think Claudius does this on his own.
Mm-hmm.
It's just him. I could be wrong. I mean, there's probably an argument to be made for the fact that she was in on it.
Mm-hmm.
But she seems so confused.
Yeah. Yeah, she said, the next line is, "What have I done that thou darest wag thy tongue in noise so rude against me?"
I don't think she's lying.
And he's already mentioned twice what's going on.
Yep.
Such an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent love, and sets a blister there, makes marriage vows as false as dicer's oaths. Oh, such a deed, as from the body of contraction plucks the very soul, and sweet religion makes a rhapsody of words. Heaven's face doth glow, yea, this solidity and compound mass with tristful visage as against the doom is thought sick at the act. And then she responds, "I me what act that roars so loud and thunders in the index?" And then here he goes.
He loses his shit.
Yes, he does. Look here upon this picture, and on this, the counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See what a grace was seated on this brow. Hyperion's curls the front of Jove himself, an eye like Mars to threaten and command, a station like the herald Mercury, new lighted on a heaven-kissing hill, a combination and a form indeed, where every god did seem to set his seal to give the world assurance of a man. Look at my father. He was gorgeous in every way. He's a beautiful man, good-hearted. The gods shined on him.
And a great warrior.
Mm-hmm. This was your husband. Look you now what follows. Here is your husband. Like a mildewed ear, blasting his wholesome brother. Have you eyes? Could you on this fair mountain leave to feed and batten on this moor? Look at this ugly bastard.
Yep.
Ha! Have you eyes? You cannot call it love, for at your age the heyday in the blood is tame. It's humble and waits upon the judgment, and what judgment would step from this to this?
What were you thinking?
What were you thinking? Because you're too old to be slumming around, lady. You didn't do this for the hoochie coochie.
You're too... God.
Your one night stands are over, bitch.
That's exactly what he's saying.
He's saying he's ugly, and he can't be good in bed because you're too old to be doing that.
That's right.
So what's the game? What did you do? Else could you not have motion, but sure that sense is apollexed, for madness would not err, nor sense to ecstasy was ne'er so thralled, but it reserved some quantity of choice. So he's saying there had to be something, and you were in on it. To serve in such a difference, what devil was it that thus hath cozened you at hoodman blind? You know something happened, woman. Mm-hmm. Because there's no... what is it that made you do this? Because all the natural things don't make sense.
That's right.
You had everything with my father. A very righteous, good, strong man. And you gave it up for a mildewed ear.
Some of the greatest insults in all of Shakespeare.
Mildewed ear. Why would you leave the high place and come to the moors? The moors.
But again, I think she's in denial. She doesn't want to see. That's why she doesn't take this well at all.
Yeah. Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, ears without hands or eyes, smelling sans all. Or but a sickly part of one true sense could not so mope. O shame, where is thy blush, rebellious hell, if thou canst mutine in a matron's bones to flaming youth, let virtue be as wax and melt in her own fire. Proclaim no shame when the compulsive ardor gives the charge, since frost itself as actively doth burn, and reason pardons will. And she says, O Hamlet, speak no more. Thou turnest mine eyes into my very soul, and there I see such black and grained spots as will not leave their tint. Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an enseamed bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over the nasty style. Oh, speak no more. These words like daggers enter my ears no more, sweet Hamlet. And he keeps going.
She doesn't know.
A murderer and a villain, a slave that is not 20th part the tithe of your precedent, Lord, a vice of kings, a cut purse of the empire, and the rule that from a shelf the precious diadem stole and put it into his pocket. No more. A king of shreds and patches.
Oh. She doesn't know.
She doesn't know.
He thinks she's in on it. She has no idea.
And do you do any cleaning or something?
Because she now knows what she's being accused of.
Mm-hmm. She figured it out.
Well, how could you not?
I know.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Here is $4 for you. And all those are out for you. Do you want a drink carrier for them? Yeah.
Retires and kneels.
Oh, Claudius.
Hamlet enters.
I just made a fresh pot of Costa Rican.
Now I do it, Pat. Now he is praying.
Busy, but I bet people want
Now I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven. And so am I revenged that would be scanned. A villain kills my father, and for that I, his sole son, do this same villain send to heaven?
Oh, I love it.
Oh, this is higher in salary, not revenge. He took my father grossly, full of bread, with all his crimes broad blown, as flush as May. And how his audit stands, who knows save heaven, but in our circumstance and course of thought, 'tis heavy with him. And am I then revenged to take him in the purging of his soul, when he is fit and seasoned for his passage? No, up sword, and no, thou a more horrid hint. What's up, man?
How you
How's it
doing?
going? Where was it? When he is drunk, asleep, or in his rage, or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed, at game of swearing, or about some act that has no relish of salvation in it, then trip him, that his heels may kick at heaven, and that his soul may be as damned and black as hell, whereto it goes. My mother stays this physic, but prolongs thy sickly days. So he's saying, I've got the opportunity, but he's praying. If I kill him, he'll go to heaven.
Let's see, this is a problem. Finish reading and then get to Claudius's part, and then I'll talk
Claudius's
about...
response. My words fly up, my thoughts remain below. Words without thoughts never go to heaven. Or never to heaven go.
So here's the problem. And it starts in the beginning, when the ghost tells Hamlet, I'm in purgatory. It's a Catholic play.
Yeah.
So Hamlet has forgotten his theology. Because you cannot confess mortal sin directly to God, you need a priest. He could have killed him right there, and he'd have gone straight to hell.
Yeah. Well, and what does Claudius say?
Exactly. And the reason I think that Catholicism is there, it's Shakespeare tipping his hand and saying, I'm kind of Catholic. Don't tell anybody.
Don't let him know.
Can you imagine that coming out?
Yeah.
He'd be dead. He would be dead.
Yeah. Kind of Catholic. Don't let Beth know.
Lizzie.
The ultimate Lizzie McGuire. Queen Lizzie.
So he's not thinking.
No, he's not.
And he should know better.
Yeah.
And then there are other moments too where religion comes up. He says by the rood when talking to Gertrude, which is just a cross. I mean, these religious images keep coming up over and over and over and over and over again throughout the play.
Yep.
We had our cameo, but he was very quiet.
Are we ready?
I hope so. Is this the fool? the sexton.
Thank you.
Whose grade's this, sir? Mine, sir. And it sings, "Oh, pit of
See you,
see,
man.
man. Oh, a pit of clay for to be made, for such a guest as meet. I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in it. You lie out on it, sir, and therefore 'tis not yours. For my part, I do not lie in it, and yet it is mine. Thou dost lie in it, to be in it, and say 'tis thine. 'Tis for the dead, not for the quick, therefore thou liest. 'Tis a quick lie, sir. 'Twill away again from me to you. What man dost thou dig it for? For no man, sir. What woman then? For none neither. Who is to be buried in it? One that was a woman, sir, but, rest her soul, she's dead." How absolute the knave is. We must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord Horatio, this 3 years I have taken note of it. The age is grown so pickled that the toe of the peasant comes so near the heel of the courtier. He galls his kibe. How long hast thou been a grave maker? Of all the days of the year, I came to it that day that our last King Hamlet overcame Fortinbras. How long is it that since? Cannot you tell that? Every fool can tell that. It was that very day that young Hamlet was born. He that is mad and sent into England. Ay, Mary, why was he sent to England? Why, because he was mad.
I love this part.
And shall recover his wits there, or if do not, 'tis no great matter there. Why? 'Twill not be seen in him there. There the men are as mad as he. How came he mad? Very strangely, they say. How strangely? Faith, even with losing his wits. Upon what ground? Why, here in Denmark. I have been sexton here, man, and boy, 30 years. How long will a man lie in the earth ere he rot? In faith, if it be not rotten before he dies, as we have many pocky courses nowadays that will scarce hold the laying in. A will last you some 8 year or 9 year. A tanner will last you 9 year. Why he more than another? Why, sir, his hide is so tanned with his trade that it will keep out the water a great while, and your water is a sore decayer if your horse and dead body. Here's a skull now. This skull was lain in the earth 23 years. Whose was it? A whoreson fellow, mad fellow's it was. Whose do you think it was? Nay, I know not. A pestilence on him for a mad rogue. He poured a flagon of Rhenish on my head once. This same skull, sir, was Yorick's skull, the king's jester.
Oh,
Takes the skull, even that.
This
Alas,
is where the
poor
turns.
Yorick, I knew him. Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy.
And what makes this so good is that it's been funny this whole time. And then all of a sudden,
it turns.
On a dime.
Yeah. Well, and before this is Hamlet talking with Horatio, and he's saying, look at all the dead. We all end up in the same place.
That's right.
And he says, look at those skulls, and look at those skulls. That skull may have been a lawyer. That skull may have been like a, what do you call a squire, right? That may have been a cook.
That's right.
And look at all of them. You can't tell.
We're all the same in death.
He's starting to break all of it down, right? And we're all the same in death. And then we get Yorick.
Alas,
poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times, and now how abhorred in my imagination it is, my gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed, I know not how oft. Here be your jibes now. Where be your jibes now? Your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar. Not one now to mock your own grinning, quite chop-fallen. Now get you to my lady's chamber and tell her, let her paint an inch thick to this favor she must come. Make her laugh at thee. Prithee, Horatio, tell me one thing. Was that, my lord? Dost thou think Alexander looked of this fashion in the earth? And of course, he's talking about Alex. the Mighty.
Yep. Alex.
Alex the Mighty.
The Macedon. It's a heartbreaking moment because you think, you know, oh, it's so beautiful. And Billy Crystal plays the role of the sexton so well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out who she is.
Yeah, it's Ophelia. And then that's when he admits he did love her.
Yep. And he and Laertes are trying to compete for who loved her most.
Yeah. Hamlet. Oh, I die, Horatio. Potent poison quite overcrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news from England, but I do prophesy the election lights on Fortinbras. He has my dying voice, so tell him with the occurrence, more and less, which have solicited, the rest is silence. Of course, he dies. And Horatio says, now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince. Flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
Now you get to talk about your favorite bit. The thing that they've been preparing
Yes.
all along.
The whole
You got to go all the way back to do it.
Got to go all the way back. All right, here we go. So much for him. Now for ourselves, for this time of meeting, thus much the business is. We have here writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, who, impotent and bedridden, scarcely hears of this his nephew's purpose to suppress his father's gate herein, in that the levies, the list, and full proportions are all made out of his subject, and we here dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, Voltimand, forbears of this greeting to old Norway, giving to you no further personal power to business with the king, more than the scope of these dilated articles allow. Farewell, and let your haste commend your duty. So what is happening is...
These aren't really good Danish names, are they?
No. So what is happening is Fortinbras wants to come in. He's pissed. He's still angry. He finds out that Hamlet's daddy, who beat his butt, is dead. So Fortinbras is like, okay, it's time to finish the job. So Claudius is like, we gotta talk to his papa. Gotta talk to his uncle. Let's figure this out. Let's keep him from coming in. Not gonna go through the whole thing, but I'm going to, because we're at a moment where we've gone over. So I gotta do this fast. So then,
but it's so worth it.
It is. So what he does, he offers Poland, right? He says,
walk through.
just kind of cut through on your way to Poland. Fortinbras like, I don't want Poland. And his uncle says, you want Poland.
Just take Poland.
Just take Poland. Just take it. Fortinbras like, fine. So he does. Everything else happens. Hamlet kills Polonius.
Yep.
His mother arranges for him to get out. He flees to England. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are set up by Claudius to kill Hamlet once he gets to England, to tell the Duke of York, kill him. Of course, Hamlet finds out on the way over, switches the letter. Duke of York kills Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Hamlet catches a ride with a bunch of pirates back, right? He gets
Guillotines and the Bilbos.
Yes. Hamlet's crossing back into Denmark.
Yeah.
And he's in one of these fields, and he looks out. He sees Fortinbras' army. But he notes one thing.
They're going the
He's
wrong
going the
way.
wrong way. He's not going where he's supposed to be going. Because he's already taken care of Poland. He's coming. Fortinbras is going to get Denmark, come hell or high water. Fast forward. We get to the ending. As we move through the final scene of the play, it starts on the outer parts of the city, and then the noise crosses into the inner part of the city, and then the noise crosses into the outer part of the castle, and then the noise is inside the castle, and then Hamlet dies, and Horatio says, "Why does the drum come hither?"
All right, here's a double shot for you then.
Enter Fortinbras
Have a great
and the English ambassadors with drum colors
Go
and
ahead, you can
tunes.
sit there.
It's not just Fortinbras, the Brits are there too.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally understand. It's a good place to get some work.
Fortinbras walks in. This is my favorite part of the movie. He literally steps over to get to the throne, and he sits down.
Yep.
And that is where Horatio starts talking to him. Because Horatio's still on the floor with Hamlet. When Fortinbras walks in and just steps over him. Horatio. Well, yeah. Fortinbras says, "This query cries on havoc, O proud death. What feast is toward in thy eternal cell, that thou so many princes at a shot so bloody hast struck." Right? And Horatio basically tells them what happens. And Fortinbras, well, Horatio pleads with Fortinbras, and he says, "Of that I shall have also cause to speak, and from his mouth whose voice will draw no more, but let this same be presently performed, even while men's minds are wild. Let more mischance on plots and errors happen." In other words, protect the body.
Yep.
And Fortinbras responds, "Let 4 captains bear Hamlet like a soldier to the stage. For he was likely, had he been put on, to have proved most royal, and for his passage the soldiers' music and the rites of war speak loudly for him. Take up the bodies, such a sight as this becomes the field, but here shows much amiss. Go bid the soldiers shoot." Take him up, give him full fanfare.
Which is
If he had
cool.
lived, he would have been royal.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
But Fortinbras, like, he's young. He's really young.
I think the Fortinbras they talk about earlier
Is his father?
dad.
Yeah, it is his father. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah. But he's still mad.
He's still mad.
He's still mad. And now that the old one's dead, he sees a chance. He gets it. And I've always told my students, watch him. Pay attention to him,
Yep.
because in the end, he's the one that wins.
He's tricky.
Yes.
He's tricky.
And he wins everything. Everything is said and done. He's awesome. He's so good.
And he has almost no speaking role.
None.
But he's
Not until
all
the end.
over the play. He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. Constantly moving.
We start with his father at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then all those little moments that are pointing your attention to it slightly and very quietly. You might want to pay attention to this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then, boom.
Boom. There he is. Right at the end.
Hamlet
right as
knows.
chaos. Yeah.
But it's what's cool is that it's Fortinbras who gives Hamlet the courage to finally kill his uncle.
Yeah.
Which is when Hamlet sees it, my thoughts be bloody or be nothing worth.
Yeah.
God.
He realizes he's running out of time.
Yep.
He's got to get moving.
Yep. And he does.
It's wonderful.
Best work of literature of all time.
Yep. Next week is Gatsby. That's gonna be fun.
The great American novel.
The American novel.
That's it.
That's it. You don't get any better. And I'll talk about Scarlet Letter and Huck Finn too.
And that's a hell of a statement given the fact that we've written some great
Oh yeah.
literature.
Yep.
We gave the world Faulkner.
We did. We gave him Vonnegut. We gave him Don DeLillo. We gave him Hemingway.
We gave them
Hawthorne.
Twain.
We gave him Melville. Melville Tale.
But that's, to be fair, we're wandering wildly off the topic, but
Yeah.
to be fair, Moby Dick is not really a novel.
No.
It's a long poem.
It's a beautiful poem. All right. I'm Barber. That's Dr. J. Peace.
it's time for Dr. J.